Well, it's always been a psychological condition. It's always been known as being like a psychiatric condition. Like it's a mental health issue.
Right.
And now it's being accepted as a gender identity issue, where it was always just like a weird kink that people had. And now you're again, regardless of whether or not this person's a sex offender, registered sex offender, repeated sex offender, you have to accept this.
What's good, y'all? I'm back with another video, and in today's video, as you can see by the title, we're going to be talking about Joe Rogan. Now, Joe Rogan is a very divisive, a very controversial figure. A lot of people love him, a lot of people hate him. Not too many people are like in between and like don't have a strong opinion. For the most part, people have a strong opinion, and for now we're gonna keep my opinions out of that, and we're gonna talk about this. Now, a lot of people, one of the big major claims that people make against Joe Rogan is that he is insanely transphobic. Now, is this true? Is it not? We're going to explore that today. And one of the first things I want to start by saying is the reason why people think Joe Rogan is transphobic is because Joe Rogan says a lot of transphobic shit, as was shown in that clip right from the beginning. You know, even the Young Turks are, you know, saying here's Joe Rogan and Matt Walsh going on a transphobic rant. Another good reason as to why people see Joe Rogan as transphobic is because he associates and talks to a lot of actually hateful, bigoted, like super transphobic people on his podcast, like people who's made their life's work basically to attack the trans community, mainly being Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peterson, these types of people right here. And they have all, you know, pretty recently actually been on his podcast. Not too long ago, about a week ago, Matt Walsh was on. I'm gonna be playing some clips from here. And what's interesting about this conversation is that Matt Walsh is using him, and all these Republican pundits very much so use him. Joe has an insanely big platform. You're going to be heard in ways that you can't be heard. You know, they're not going to let these people on the mainstream media. So Joe Rogan, he's the alternative, right? And you're going to get a lot of ears and a lot of eyes on you, you know? So it's very beneficial for people. Now, here's the thing, is that Joe Rogan says a lot of transphobic shit, and these people will just very much so be in agreement with him. But then he'll say something positive about trans people, and you'll notice this. You'll notice something is that they stay quiet. All these conservative pundits that are just using Joe to promote their fucking like transphobic shit. So Joe will be saying these like ignorant old man ass like statements, right, about fucking trans people, like, because he really, when you get a sense of listening to the guy, he just doesn't really understand. He doesn't have hate. But then you see someone like Matt Walsh who actually has hate. He's all in, agreeing, yeah, giving him reinforcement. Yeah, you're right, Joe, you're right. And then Joe says, oh wait, well, I think trans people, you know, some of them are valid. And you know, silence. It's a radio silence. I'm gonna play this clip right here for y'all.
So we're fair. So there is a difference between Matt Walsh and Joe Rogan, and the fact check that Bus Walsh is the biggest difference. But here, Rogan tries to temper what he's saying. Let's watch.
It's so handsmaid tale. It's so wild that people are just wholesale adopting this. And this is not to deny that there's people that are trans. I've met people that are trans. It exists in nature. I mean, you occasionally, guys will shoot a buck and they'll find out that it's actually a female with antlers. Nature's weird, right? I think nature does put people, make humans, for whatever reason, that really feel like they should have been born a female or should have been born a male. But that's not all of what's happening. And in our desire to be compassionate and to have care for these people and to love these people and respect these people, we're opening the door to all this chaos.
So the clip ends right there. But after that, actually, Matt Walsh just doesn't respond to this. If you watch the whole podcast, he just doesn't respond and just keeps going with the conversation. Now, this is interesting to me because he just was saying transphobic shit, like blatantly, obviously transphobic shit. However, it was never intentional, right? Joe was never aware that he was being transphobic, okay? He says shit out of ignorance. There's a distinction from saying something transphobic and being transphobic. You can do something transphobic without being transphobic. You can do something racist without being racist. Just because you do something for one reason or another doesn't necessarily mean that it's your whole being. But in our world today, people are not that charitable, and online, people are not going to grant that to people. So it's just Joe Rogan's transphobic. But this creates an issue. Because politics is a fight for the middle ground, which is what you fucking idiots seem to be forgetting. And what you're missing, what you're literally missing by doing this, is when he says, oh, there's valid people, but there's something else going on. There is something else going on. As a fucking trans person, let me tell you, there's something more nefarious. There is bullshit. There is fucking people that are doing this because they think it's a trend. Okay? There is shit with the medical experimentation, and they don't tell us everything. So yeah, trans people are real and they need to be treated with respect and care. Joe hit that nail on the head, but there is something else going on, you know? And I think he does need to do a better job to educate himself, to learn when these pundits are being hateful, being bigoted. Because if you pay close attention, watch every conversation he's had with these conservatives, okay? You know, Joe leans to the right, but he's not a fucking, like, right person, right? So, here's the thing. It's a war for the center. And when you got a guy like Joe, you know, willing to talk to these people, and then willing to acknowledge that trans people are cool and shit, that's good. So we need to get behind this. And what we need to do is we need to correct the information, right? We need to say, yeah, Joe's saying these right things, and people that like Joe, hey, Joe's not transphobic, but you know, he's an old fucking man. He's a little behind on the times. He doesn't get everything. Let's get him up to speed. But nah, you just want to point a finger and put the guy down, man. I'm so sick of this shit. Joe Rogan is not Matt Walsh. He's not Ben Shapiro. He's not motherfucking Jordan Peterson. He's Joe Rogan. He's the MMA fucking fighting, ayahuasca, DMT tripping dude that, you know, has a little bit concerns about this whole gender shit going on in society, and that's valid. Anyways, I feel like as a community, we need to calm down, chill the fuck out, and talk to people, and we need to do a better job of sussing out real hate versus ignorance. I love Joe Rogan personally. I think, like, you learn great shit listening to his podcast. You're going to hear some very successful people just talking to other successful people. It's the fucking shit. As a person that's trying to be a content creator, trying to get my career off the ground, I feel like I learn something every single time I turn that shit on. So I don't care if he says transphobic shit. The guy's not transphobic. Anyways, peace out, bitches.
Get a fucking bag, I've been way down bad. Know my time's coming, gotta stay patient, get where I'm at. I'ma just focus, grind hard, stay up on my shit. Yeah, you stupid if you think that I'ma lose, 'cause I ain't give a fuck, I ain't have no choice, bitch, is what I do. Grind hard up in the booth, feel like I'm Curry, step back when I shoot. Whoa, splash, yeah, I'm on your ass. I'm just trying to blow up, get a bag. Haters, they can stay fucking mad. I ain't give a fuck about that. Nah, I can't waste no time. Yeah, I just gotta focus, gotta rhyme. Wanna make it so I could really shine. Show the kids it's a positive way. Hey, you ain't gotta gang bang. Haters sell drugs, you could find a new way. Hey,